the Marines came back. Because Ronald Reagan was very upset with the Israelis because the Israelis allowed the Christian militiamen to follow them into camp. So the Marines came back to Beirut as peacekeepers. Now, the problem with being labeled a peacekeeper is there was no peace to keep. So for me, I was like, how can they call you guys peacekeepers when there's no peace to keep and there's no real will on the ground for peace?
Maybe a peacemaker. A peacemaker, not a peacekeeper.
Well, attempted. This is the Marines observing the area around the base at the airport. The airport was the low ground. The Druze and Syrians and others had the high ground in the mountains. I was curious if the Marines were on the low ground. This is coming into Beirut on a helicopter. The Marine base is 6 miles south at the airport. And if you look, this building right here, that was my apartment building. That's where I live in the Corniche. And we can sit on the my balcony.
Waterfront.
We can see exactly the waterfront. We can sit on the balcony and watch the New Jersey shelling the mountains.
Oh, wow.
So you can sit there at night and watch and see this muzzle flash in the Jersey 16-inch guns, and you feel this freight train going over your head. These are 2,000 pound, size of Volkswagen World War II shells.
So how many colleagues you have?
Huh?
You're the only one?
Pardon?
How many colleagues you have, or you're the only one covering that whole region?
Oh, no. I had there were stringers and there were other photographers. There were AP photographers in Tel Aviv, and there's a guy in Jordan. I was in Beirut, but I traveled around a lot. If there wasn't a story in Beirut or in Cairo, I would go somewhere else. So everybody is a wire photographer or magazine photographer who tend to do a lot of traveling. So I've worked in 47 countries, some more interesting than others. But it's been great. I wouldn't trade anything for anything. Yes?
How much you are fearing for your life working in that and settling world?
Well,
and how do you convince others to believe you are AP photographer?
As opposed to a spy? Yeah, well, I tell you, as we look at the world now with Boko Haram and ISIS and the beheading of Dame Foley, no relation to me, and Kasich and others, there's no rules anymore. There's really no rules. When I was working in these places that were a little unsettled, as they say, from 78 up until the mid-90s, I had been arrested, beaten up, shelled, strip searched, thrown into cells, guns to my head, told I'm going to die. And I'm here to tell a story because the 12-year-old who put a gun to my head, there was a voice in his head saying, I could get in trouble. There's none of that anymore. There's no constraints on anybody. These guys can kill people associated with ISIS or Boko Haram, and there's no penalty, which is a little scary. So, you have to make sure that everybody believes you, which sometimes is easier said than done. So, that's the story. I mean, at one point, the Syrians arrested me and another photographer at the top of a mountain in eastern Lebanon. We were on our way to find Arafat, Yasser Arafat. And these guys stopped us and decided we were spies. And I had a Syrian press card, Lebanese press card, and all the visas in my passport. And so the guy decided we were spies. So he says to his colleagues, and he's literally jumping up and down, I'm going to kill these guys, throw their bodies off the cliff, and then Hafiz al-Assad will give me a party. And I'm thinking, oops. So I'm trying to explain to his people that this is not the case. And I'm speaking Arabic. And the guy says to me, if you can open your mouth again, I'll kill you. So 10 minutes later, a white Mercedes shows up with two guys who get out of the car wearing leisure suits with guns in their pockets. And these guys, I don't know to this day if they were Syrian secret police, Lebanese secret police, Palestinian secret police, who these guys were. But they seemed to be reasonable. So I said to them under my breath in Arabic, look at our paperwork. So he goes to the guy who's standing there to kill us and looks at our paperwork and realizes we're for real. We've got legitimate paperwork. So he says to the guy, take them to your officer in Tripoli. We're about 10 miles up the hill from Tripoli. And I said, do me a favor, stick around until they turn the car around. So they turn the car around, and we drive it down the mountain, and the guy who starts this process, who's says the theory of evolution back about 4,000 years, jumps out of the car at the Syrian checkpoint and says, hey, look what I've caught. I've caught all these two Israeli spies. And, you know, the guys come right up to the car, they open the car door, they grab me by the shirt, they drag me out of the car, guy hits me across the face. At that point, the guy who started the process comes running up to him, hits him, and says, nobody hits him but me. At that point, I'm saying, where is Foley? You guys know the Italian film director, Foley? I'm thinking, where is Foley to direct this complete chaos? Anyway, so we get to the officers' headquarters outside of Tripoli in Beirut, in Lebanon. And the guy takes one look at our paperwork and goes, oh no. And I go, so first you don't want to write about this, right? And he asked me if we sell our equipment and if we were treated nicely. As well, they smashed my glasses, they kicked me around, but our equipment seems to be in the trunk of the car. So meanwhile, the guy who started the process is sitting there. We're having tea and coffee and cigarettes. And I literally told the officer about this guy. And I just completely nailed him. So I'm assuming that by the time we left, he didn't have a pleasant day. Because we were